We're ready to start. Boy, I don't like the way I look. Here she comes. Good afternoon and welcome to the Public Safety Committee. Our members are here today. Councilmember Andre Bowen, Councilmember Vivian Joyner, Councilmember wonderful Regina Hall, and Scipio. And we have with us this afternoon our Mayor Pro Tem, Denise Adams. Thanks for being with us today. We take it's an honor for us to serve our community as members of the Public Safety Committee, because this is the one area other than Public Works that pretty much touches everyone. And before we get into the agenda, I want to have two shout outs today. First, to our Winston-Salem Police Department, who had a phenomenal coffee with a cop at Alex's Cheesecake on Trade Street. It was just a tremendous time to see residents come out and chat with our police officers and learn more about what goes on in public safety from the police force. So when you hear about that again, and I know they're going to do a couple of more this year, please come out and meet our officers and get to know them, but more importantly, know their passion about public safety and enforcing our laws. And I also want to give a shout out to our fire department. If you have not ever taken City University, you should. And last Thursday, Chief Mayo scared everybody in the class. None of us wanted to go home and go to sleep with our doors open. We were concerned about the mattresses we sleep in just being a bed of oil. So thank you, Chief Mayo, for being real with us and telling everyone the truth about fire safety. With that, we'll go on with our meeting today. We have one consent agenda. Does anybody want to pull that? Scott?
I would like to pull C1, please.
Yes, okay.
I still see it here.
Yeah. Madam, Scott, what is your concern?
I just wanted us for consent agenda for C1, I would like to pull that for presentation, please.
You're talking about the weight limit on Johnstown Road?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's been moved to G1, so I don't know if
It is not on mine.
okay.
So,
C1, the only thing on the consent is just the minutes.
then I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't have that on mine. I apologize.
Okay,
You may want to refresh.
okay, yeah, refresh.
Move to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
A second.
C1.
We've heard a motion and it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. Now we'll go to our general agenda. We'll have G1, please.
Item G1, ordinance amending Section 4297 of the City Code to establish weight limitations on through traffic on certain city streets located in the Southwest Ward.
Good afternoon, Reed Hutchins, Transportation Operations Manager for the City of Winston-Salem DOT. The item before you for consideration is a weight limitation on Jonestown Road from Kester Mill to Stratford Road or US 158 to the south. The item is proposed because every once in a while we'll get requests in from citizens or agencies regarding these where there's tractor-trailer traffic going through more residential areas than commercial areas. The reason we brought this one forward today is Jonestown Road is mainly residential. We found that tractor trailers or semi-trucks, vehicles over 13,000 pounds, are using Jonestown Road to almost as a cut through between Haynes Mall Boulevard or Haynes Mall Road and Stratford Road to the south. So the weight limitation that we're proposing today is to go from Kester Mill, which will allow vehicles to get to the Walmart, to the other commercial businesses there, and then all the way down to Stratford Road. It's the expectation that these tractor trailers go up Haynes Mall and down to Stratford to get to the commercial buildings. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Is there any discussion on this?
So this has been in my 7 to 8 months on council, this has been a very large topic of conversation. That's why I wanted to hear about this. So thank you very much for moving this through. I know that the residents who live in that area are going to be very excited to hear that there is progress here, and look forward to seeing what we can get going. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you. Hi. My question is, how are we able to monitor this? I mean, 16 years, I see this all the time. I know neighborhoods, I know cut-throughs. I saw a big tractor-trailer truck do a U-turn today on my way down here in a neighborhood. And I'm just wondering, because our constituents and the citizens constantly ask us to lower these speed limits and weights, and we got all of these regulatory signs and blinking lights, but I still get calls from my constituents complaining that, the trucks are still coming through. And I'm wondering if somewhere down the line, maybe in the near future, AI will help us with this, with the companies and being able to see where these trucks are going, just like we can monitor our fleet.
Yeah, great question, Mayor Pro Tem. So I'll start with the signage aspect. We really do rely heavily on the signs as the kind of the first level of kind of defense from the offenders here. The second line is, of course, our police department to help us out with that enforcement of the weight limitation. The next thing that our department does, we reach out to these companies directly if we do find that they're still offending the ordinance. And then lastly, you mentioned technology. As technology advances, as things can kind of progress, we're able to pull license plates directly from cameras that we can deploy. We can find those offending vehicles and then work more directly with those companies, where in the past we were just like, okay, you might be offending, but now we can actually pinpoint the actual vehicles that are offending.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hall?
Thank you. I do have one other question. One of the concerns, well, not one, this is a concern, but we've gotten it from multiple people, and I know that all of my colleagues have received email correspondence about it. That is having oversized vehicles, particularly tractor trailers, that have been seen a bit more frequently in residential areas. And so for just a standard record or policy, are residential areas capped at a certain weight limit for vehicles that, I don't know that I've ever seen that posted in my neighborhood, but.
Yeah, so great question. So it's the expectation that anything over 13,000 pounds use a street that's rated for that weight. We don't like to see them on residential streets, and really tractor trailers don't love to go on residential street because tight turns, narrower road widths. In this scenario, you really do have it from 40 down to Stratford Road. Tractor trailers can get off and go quite easily down Jonestown Road. But to answer your question about why we don't post them everywhere, we have to make an ordinance amendment for everyone. So every residential street would then have to be under that ordinance. And we like to work directly with the companies to try to curb the misuse of the residential streets for commercial vehicles.
Thank you. And one other question. And so if when residents do contact any one of us, particularly about concerns of vehicles of this size, having frequent access and parking in their communities, What is our first line of defense of some of the things that you said? We contact your office, have folks take pictures of the company, and then you all will reach out, or what will we need to do? Or PD directly, or what will we need to do?
Exactly. So, yeah, the first step would be to reach out to DOT. We would then investigate by putting a traffic camera out, seeing if there's a true concern there, working with those companies directly to try to stop the abuse there, things of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Mr. Hutchins, I know that this is a continuing issue in the East Ward. We have those big trucks parked on residential streets. And part of the issue that I understand is that it's not really enforceable because there's no real violation dollar amount that would deter it. It's been going on for quite a few years, and we really need to change the policy so that they can actually be fined for parking on our residential streets, not just driving through, but parking overnight, over the weekend. And in the neighborhood that I do know, it's really bad on the streets. And so whatever it takes for us to move this forward, I'm totally in favor of it. But it seems a little odd that we would have to post on any street where an oversized truck is not allowed. Where couldn't it be a citywide ordinance?
Councilor Scipio, let me jump in on that real quick, if you don't mind. I think the issues that we're getting at, I think if I'm hearing Councilmember Hall right, a lot of the emails that were coming in were really talking about folks parking these 18-wheelers in residential neighborhoods. In a lot of those cases, these are the employees, either the contract drivers or whoever, that are bringing the vehicles home and parking them in front of their house is what's creating that problem. I think when that initial flurry of emails came in, I know Jeff looked into it, and if Jeff can walk up here and maybe give a quick summary on what we can do with respect to writing tickets already with existing ordinance language. I know there is a conversation in place about upping the fees associated with those violations.
Thank you, Aaron, and good afternoon, committee members. Just a couple comments real briefly. The issue at hand really is regarding our ability to levy fines for parking in these residential areas. Current ordinance allows us to cite oversized vehicle. They're specific, it's 80 inches wide and over 30 feet long. That's what ordinance currently allows us to cite. Now, there's a challenge there when you cite those or work with those particular trucking agencies and our enforcement arm of that, right, when there's no real levy. So I think there's a hole in our ordinance. We've got to look at some benchmarking and bring back some policy recommendations I think we can make some decisions on. That'll be an action item for my team moving forward to deal with that from levying that fine component of this. One other comment I wanted to make, though, regarding the kind of blanket, we want to restrict these on particular residential areas. I want to caution us there because all streets currently designed today, right, are designed to current standard, which, I mean, we're running fire trucks down those that are, 75,000 pounds. So they're designed to handle the weight capacity. Now, obviously, we have a number of aging streets and older streets that weren't necessarily designed to that capacity. So there are those issues of street degradation because of heavy vehicles. But I want to be clear, when we do our transportation planning and we model transportation infrastructure for freight mobility, right, we look at where origin and destination is for these type of movements. And we just start restricting streets, regardless of their classification, to where they need to go. That exacerbates other issues. That's why it takes a more holistic approach where we have to analyze that to make sure we just don't blanket cover residential streets or local streets when there may not be a great other option for freight mobility. So that's just a nuance. I wanted to make a point to say that.
Thank you so much. We certainly understand there's more than one solution, and we have many complexities with those. But where we can fix something quickly, easily, and it stop being a nuisance to certain residents, I think we should be very prudent in doing that. So let us move forward with trying to figure out all of those contract drivers that are parking their trucks in our residencies, and that needs to stop. So with G1, do I have a motion?
So moved for G1.
Second.
It's moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. G2.
Item G2, Officer Luke Alderman named finalist for 2024 International Association of Chiefs of Police Officer of the Year Award.
Good afternoon, Chair Scipio, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the Public Safety Committee. I am not Officer Luke Alderman, but I will speak on him. The International Association of Chiefs of Police is the largest, most influential, and respected association for police leaders. The association has been speaking out on behalf of law enforcement to communities since 1893. They assist law enforcement by various training, various research, and on most pressing issues, threats, and challenges that face us today, including pushing out best practices. On October 18th through 21st of this year in Denver, Colorado, the IACP will have their annual conference. In that conference, there will be various trainings and network opportunities. However, what they'll also be deciding is, out of the 35,000 members and 170 countries they serve, they will be announcing one Officer of the Year. One of the 4 worldwide finalists is our very own Officer Luke Alderman, who on November 17, 2024, Officer Alderman bravely approached a violent and chaotic scene to save a child as gunshots rang out from the residence. Now, Officer Alderman has already been chosen as the Winston-Salem Police Department's Officer of the Year and also was awarded in the recent North Carolina Gang Investigators Association. So this will be the first time in our history that we have one of our very own officers as a finalist for the International Association of Chiefs of Police Officer of the Year.
Absolutely marvelous. I always know that we have excellence among our Winston-Salem Police Department and our fire department and all of our city departments. It's so admirable that someone thought enough to recommend him for this honor. And we must know in our wonderful city that we may be right here in Lulu, North Carolina, but we're doing outstanding work with our employees are doing outstanding feats on the international level. So we certainly look forward to him being the finalist, but he's already a star among us. So we thank you. Anyone like to make a comment? Yes.
Chief Penn, that award may be going to Officer Alderman, but it definitely speaks volumes for the whole department and for the leadership of the department. You can't have good people without having good people. And so to you and to the rest of the department, thank you.
Thank you. You're right. We have a wonderful team.
Thank you, Chief. Any other comments? G3.
Item G3, information regarding a grant awarded to the Police Department by the North Carolina Association of Chiefs of Police to support officer performance and wellness initiatives.
Good afternoon, Chair Scipio, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the Public Safety Committee. My name is Chris Diamond. I'm an Assistant Chief with the Police Department, and I'm here to bring good news that we were recently awarded with a grant in the amount of $50,000 from the North Carolina Associations of Chief of Police, and it falls under the Performance and Wellness Grant. So the police department was looking at a software to help us manage our officer health and wellness, as well as some training aspects. We found a vendor, Essential Personnel, who offers exactly what we were looking for. We were fortunate enough to win a grant and be able to work in conjunction with the software company to have it priced exactly for the amount of the grant to cover the software for the first year. This software will allow us to do something that we've never been able to do before. So we have an early warning system where we look into things that officers have done, incidents they've been involved in, but nothing that looks at the mental health and wellness of the officers. What this software allows us to do is to have our supervisors that are in the field with the officers, and this also extends to our professional staff, our communications operators, our forensic services technicians, our crime analysts who are in the real-time crime center, that see traumatic events to be notified when an officer has seen multiple traumatic events. If we have the loss of a life of a child or violent car accidents, violent issues that happen, this system will allow our supervisors to be able to identify officers that have been exposed to multiple incidents to make sure that we check in on them, provide them the resources that we have available for them, and be able to take care of our officers the way they need to be taken care of.
Absolutely wonderful. I don't know how many people realize that a lot of the services that we're able to provide to the community and to our employees come through grants. Mental health for all employees should be considered as a high priority, and I'm very happy that the police department is stepping up and looking at the mental health of officers. Folks think that, oh, they just do a job, and we think that they're doing that police job. But behind that police facade are human beings who are having to deal with some of the worst part of humanity. So I'm very happy that you have this grant. And I don't think we need to vote on anything at this time, correct? It's just information. Anybody have a comment? Yes.
Thank you. This is a really good program. It appears that it's a great effort, but I would hope and want to say for the record that, as you all know, service doesn't end when your watch is over. And so for those members who have retired and have stepped away, that some type of connectivity is still there, because what that service member did in the line of duty, it lives with them for the rest of their life, good and or bad.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Councilmember Hall.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. Of course, there is a direct correlation, which we also read about, between the wellness of police officers and the way that they serve our community. So I'm a huge advocate for this. I talked to the chief about this, I think probably not too long ago after I was sworn in, just about what sort of wellness programs were in place for officers, how they are able to decompress, right, from the day, from the week, from the year, from very, very traumatic experiences. I would like for you, if you can, talk about what sorts of services that may be available for the families of officers that are entailed in this wellness program.
And you'll actually get to hear a little bit more from our new wellness coordinator, who will be speaking right after
Ms.
me.
Buick.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
But so one of the things that we do for the families of our officers is, of course, they're entitled to the same, especially being part of the city. They're entitled to our EAP. The police department also uses a company called FMRT, which actually specializes more so in law enforcement related traumatic incidents. So we make sure that our officers are aware and that their families know that they're capable of that. We have a peer support team inside the agency that has recently come up in the last couple of years. That is a huge piece of our wellness package that we're looking at. And then additionally, with the onboarding of Ms. Buick with our team, those resources are going to continue to expand as we move forward.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for this report.
Thank you.
G4.
Item G4, Winston-Salem Wellness Advocate Program Update.
Hello. Nice to meet you, council members and Mayor Pro Tem. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Kendra Buick. I graduated from Montreat College with a bachelor's of exercise science and a minor in psychology. So before this, I had no police background, but well-rounded, definitely in all aspects of wellness, so physical wellness, nutrition, and mental health. Spent some time counseling, along with many other roles. I served at the YMCA for a couple of years. Through the Greensboro Association, so I was super happy to bring my expertise to the police department. So just to tell you a little bit about how we started with this program, through the grant guidelines, we began to kind of seek, let me step back for a second. We wanted to seek like an online survey to get a well-rounded needs assessment from our officers and professional staff. And what that survey was successful in identifying was that we had needs for not only the immediate things you would think of when you think about wellness, so physical health, nutrition, but things like stress management, emotional resilience for the trauma that they experience, even financial wellness for themselves and their families. And some of the key highlights that we had was the issues that they had disconnecting from work. They were struggling with sleep, and then also to retirement planning, and not necessarily in the financial aspect, but more in having services tailored to them, so whenever they do retire and they are no longer associated with the badge that they carried, they also have access to fitness programs, nutrition, social aspects that keeps them healthy. So just to speak a bit about wellness and why it is so important and why this program is so necessary, I think that with all the escalating rates of burnout, PTSD, substance misuse, and suicide, this program is no longer a nice-to-have feature for police departments and other first responders because of the high amounts of trauma that they see throughout their work. So I feel like we are behind the curve, but slowly catching up. And there is a direct correlation, as you guys said, between the well-being of our officers and how they serve our community. And including the well-being of our other teams like communication operations, forensic services technicians, and then other vital professional staff. So just to give you a roundabout of some of the wellness initiatives that we've started. So starting with me, some of the basic things that I do are just kind of wellness checkups, which are one-to-one coaching, advice, and resources for nutrition, physical fitness, mental health, and other wellness-related topics. Usually if it's something that I can't cover, it's something we resource out through the community. Just speaking on the kind of analytics of that, since me being here in late April, we've had 28 staff members schedule one-to-one meetings with me, and that's not included the other connections that have been established through ride-alongs, the visits I have at district offices, and other events. Another program we have started is a healthy food delivery service. We partnershiped with Long Life Meal Prep. They are a company out of Jamestown, and they actually do this nationally for a lot of different companies, but we are averaging 49 units per week for the deliveries, which is pretty high. We have generally in the high range about 80 units per week. Another service that we offer is functional strength small group training. So this occurs 3 days a week currently. For the space we have, we average about 2 to 4 participants per session, and we are looking to expand that currently more towards the district offices at early hours for officers so they can take or partake better in that service. Other initiatives, we partnered with Triads Love on a Leash. They are a certified therapy dog team that visits us regularly to kind of comfort and assist in emotional support for our staff. So they visit our facility, we take them around, and it's really amazing to see, especially officers being very type A, open up to this experience. And we also have Hope Animal Assisted Crisis Response. They are sort of on call for us, and this is a good thing for the community as well, because in any sort of kind of tragic event that the community or our officers would need, they deploy teams to be able to come out for emotional support. Our adult sports leagues, so weekly we have pickleball and basketball leagues with the department that play together, and this just creates a good social environment for peers. And we are soon going to be onboarding a wellness app. This wellness app is for all aspects of our wellness, and it's going to house most of our mental health resources along with nutrition resources and physical wellness. And just some other community partnerships we've done, and here's some photos just to kind of show some of the things we've been doing. We partnered with Mammoth Nutrition for a nutrition series workshop. Pure Sweat is going to host a recovery and resilience training for us this month. Hall Chiropractic and Sports Injury held a duty-related injury prevention and treatment workshop for us, and Taylor Physical Therapy and Wellness is going to do a women's wellness workshop for us in October. So some other support systems that kind of help the wellness program be successful, as mentioned, is our peer support. They are a crucial part of the team, and they provide trusted support and resources for the well-being of their peers. Some other things are just for like our clinical incidences, just say like a recent occasions we've had an officer-involved shooting or an on-duty injury. It allows myself and our peer support team to work together, be able to provide resources for family members. I know you had mentioned one of the big ones that we've started implementing is a foundation called Behind the Blue Line, and they give extended support, especially to family members, especially when they need financial help along with a long journey of tragedy. Other things are being able just to provide support to employees for personal and professional matters, and with the help of my wellness committee, they help me implement things throughout the agency. And the focus of the wellness program for the future is just to continue to increase participation and be a trusted and effective program that aids in the physical, mental, emotional, and financial well-being of our officers and professional staff, starting with our academy officers and extending our wellness program to our retirees in hopes of changing the stigma around mental health for good. And their well-being is crucial to the safety of our community. Any questions or remarks?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this presentation. This was a very important aspect of mental health and physical health for our police officers. I saw that you had 62 respondents for the survey that was done in March, I believe, or May?
May.
So moving forward, I know we have a lot more officers than 62. What are we going to do to get more of our officers involved with that? And then second, kind of the same question, I love that there have been 28 people who have signed up to do a one-on-one session. What are your goals to move forward with getting more people to come and interact with that? Because it is a vital and important service that you're doing.
Yeah, so to speak on the participation of the wellness survey that we did, I kind of left it open, and I was kind of had whispers in my ears, but like, if you want us to make this mandatory, we can. But in my idea of making something successful, I wanted to hear from the people first that wanted to give their perspective. Mainly so it would be more genuine for the responses that we had. Now in future, and I think gradually, as we I think as they get more comfortable with me and I put myself in their situations and we build those relationships, I think naturally participation will increase, but we will do another survey probably early this next year just to kind of revisit things and see how we can progress the program.
Councilmember Hall?
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Very excited to see it. I'm really excited about what sort of supports that we could employ and deploy to retirees, particularly around this that maybe was not necessarily in place when they were here. So that is important. I think the other thing is just remembering that mental health just in general is not something that everybody jumps up and down about. The idea of going to talk to someone, this has been a field, an area that has been stigmatized like none other, and in a profession that I would deem as being very male-dominated. Men oftentimes are very stoic, and not all men. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the manager that's giving me a look. But some men are stoic and not as eager or very fast. Sometimes they're a little hesitant on opening up. So I actually thought the numbers were good. And your numbers don't specify whether they're men or women. So let me do that, because that's my bias coming in, that maybe these were all men and maybe they were not. Maybe it wasn't just all men. You don't have to share that. I say all this to say I do share in my colleagues' sentiments of like wanting to see the numbers jump up, but I am very excited. Numbers could have been 2, could have been 4. So it's good that at least that was a good start. And it also was good in knowing that this was not mandatory, right? I do think you took a great approach in making sure that it wasn't just to see how the feedback was and making sure that it was genuine. But I want to give you a bit of encouragement to keep going. And I actually was happy about seeing those numbers and generally just happy about this. Could you tell me who all is a part of the wellness committee? Is that made up of officers or staff, be them sworn officers or not, or there are other members that have a background in your background or community members or?
Yes. So our committee is a good portion of, or a good mix, I should say, of our professional and officers. And we also have some 2 captains serving on that board, as well as 2 of our lead support, peer support members. So It's a good mix of people with training, but they kind of help me, you know what I mean? They help me with outreach into different areas and help me kind of implement some programs.
Okay, one other question, Chair, if it's okay. Do you know right now of any other supports, particularly for this program, that you can see as being needing right now?
I think financial is the biggest one that I'm struggling with as a trusted resource that I could provide to them. So that would be a big help if we could increase that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your comments, but welcome, Ms. Burek, to Winston Police Department.
Thank you.
It's always great to have a calming person with a personality that sort of invites people in to be on the forefront for wellness. My question is, our police department works in shifts. How do you manage providing service across the various shifts?
So they're, especially officers, speaking on their 12-hour shifts, I have started putting myself in their spaces. So district offices, it's still kind of hard to get the night shifts, but even with that being said, I will do some late night shifts, so they will also see me in that aspect. But a lot of my services can be reached through email, and we can schedule times to be able to connect. I'm pretty flexible for them, but I think once and if that shift changes, it will be a lot easier for programs for them.
And are you located in a public safety center on Cherry Street or somewhere else?
I am in the Public Safety Center.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have another question.
Okay.
I'm curious, since we're talking about maybe a longer conversation and one that probably is a bit more comprehensive about just the city's support of mental health towards all employees. I certainly hate to single out one of my first committee meetings. I kind of singled out a couple of departments, and the city manager very subtly made sure that I remembered that there were several other employees under the organization's framework. And so I had a question of whether or not the fire department, only because we're in the public safety meeting, had something similar, a similar program. Chief Mayo, I can talk to you about that offline, but just in general, I want to make sure, particularly as ACM Voida is here, and making sure that in general, we are making sure that we highlight this as being of utmost importance for all of our city employees. And I'm speaking as a former city employee who would have loved an opportunity to debrief or be a part of a wellness committee or et cetera. But particularly as our departments that we know face extreme trauma, sleep deprivation and things like that, obviously they're at our forefront, but we want to make sure that we are being comprehensive in our outlook towards this to all employees.
I literally just wrote a note to check in with HR. I know we're having a citywide wellness fair coming up. I don't remember the date, but I did just make a note to check in with HR and see how we can partner kind of between the two and make sure we're, as much as possible, offering services across the organization.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. G5.
Item G5, information regarding the transition to a black and white color scheme for Winston-Salem Police Patrol vehicles.
Good afternoon again. So I wanted to speak with you about the vehicle that's displayed. This is a mock-up of the vehicle we are looking to transition to. So once again, as part of Chief Penn coming in and trying to increase morale, do several other things throughout the agency, the topic of our current vehicle design came up. So historically, the agency has had multiple people that are interested in going to a black and white patrol vehicle. It also offers multiple other benefits besides just morale internally in the agency. What we have found through our research is that the black and white patrol vehicle is very easily recognizable. We have so many different events that are taking place that are bringing nationwide and international people to our city. This vehicle is the most recognizable police vehicle in the country. So whenever someone sees a black and white, they realize that's a police car. So it provides that presence. What we've also found through our research is it actually provides a belief, because it stands out so much, that there are actually more police vehicles on the street even when they're not. It's kind of an optical illusion, I guess you would say, but it does provide that there is. So it has that omnipresent factor to show it for the community. For the community as well. So as we move forward, we began looking at this, taking into account the financial piece of it. So we have actually determined that this vehicle is actually substantially cheaper to stripe than the current vehicle that we have. So it should work out to our benefit in multiple ways as we're putting it out there. This, as I said, this is the design that has been voted on throughout the agency. We had over 60% of the sworn officers vote, with about right at just under 70% selecting this as the patrol car scheme that they wanted to go to. It does kind of go back. The whole idea was to go very plain, very simple, but very clear and obvious that it is a police car.
So when will we have these on the street?
So we should start seeing the first ones within the next 2 weeks, maybe a little bit sooner. I have the first ones with blue that have already been equipped with blue lights, and all of the things that go inside are already being striped up right now. So we should start seeing those probably into this week, first of next week. And now was a really good time for us to make this change, as we had the 60 vehicles that we bought last year that were ready to be upfitted, and then the 80 for the next year. With taking out a few admin vehicles here and there, that puts roughly 100 to 120 of these patrol vehicles out there, which is roughly over half of what's on patrol. So it would be a mass production of these vehicles going out.
We're not planning to change the stripes on the current vehicles that
No,
are.
ma'am. No, ma'am. It would be, we've done this several times. I've been here for 23 years now. I believe we've had about 4 or 5 different paint schemes since I've been here. This has always been the standard transition. We leave what's there, and then we move forward with a new one so that we're not stripping off and then spending the money to redo a patrol car.
Any questions, Scott?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this. You took one of my questions, but my second question is, so we see the picture here with the SUV police vehicle. Is the same design going to be for the traditional sedan cruiser?
This will be the only police vehicle that we have moving forward. They do not make the Charger anymore.
All right.
Every vehicle that we're purchasing to the 140 that we have currently either being produced right now for next year, and the 60 that we have that are in production, having the lighting and stuff put in them now, they're all Ford Explorers. So everything we have will be a Ford Explorer. The only Chargers we have will be our reserve fleet, loaner vehicles, things of that nature, hopefully within the next 6 to 8 months.
Beautiful, thank you.
And we do have unmarked vehicles.
Yes, ma'am, and they will stay white. And then the other ones, we don't talk about those.
Yeah, they're not all white.
Correct, yes, ma'am.
I think that people need to know, yeah, you can see this one and know it, but the ones that you really need to be concerned about are the ones that look just like your car.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am, and those
They're
will not
hard to
change.
detect. I've been looking really hard. Anyway, yeah, slow down.
Thank you, Chair. 2 questions. One, what is the total number of marked fleet cars out?
It varies. I couldn't tell you an exact number. Ballpark, probably in the neighborhood of right around 300. We have right around 300 vehicles that are equipped with blue lights, fleet cameras, and fairly well marked.
Well, I lied, it's 3 questions. So the second question, what do you think is the timeline to get all of the marked vehicles to this?
A lot of that will depend on vehicle needs moving forward over the next couple of budget cycles. I would say probably another 3 budget cycles would probably be a safe estimate, somewhere around in that range. It kind of varies too between vehicles that end up being involved in wrecks. If we have a vehicle that's involved in a wreck and it has to be completely redone, we may look at converting it because it would have to be wrapped in the old paint scheme anyway. So we may look at just rewrapping it in this because it's cheaper than the new one or than the old one is anyway. So it's kind of hard to say a definitive timeline, but I would say 3 to 5 years safely.
Okay. And my last is really not a question, just a comment or observation. It seems to be about that same 60% of police that voted or acknowledged this as did the survey for the wellness.
Surprisingly enough, we actually had over 200 participants in this survey, so quite a few more in this one. In that one, I think the others are still scared to bring up the mental health aspect of things. They all have an opinion about what kind of car they drive, though. So, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chair. One more question. So you said that this design is less expensive than what we currently do. Do you have a cost comparison of what those two are?
It's going to be roughly $200 cheaper.
Cheaper. This is a technical question.
Sure.
On that new vehicle look, there are no lights on the top. How am I going to determine that's a police car coming up on me?
That one that's a mock-up, so that one doesn't have lights on it. All the other ones will still have the big, beautiful light. And yes, actually, our new lighting package is much, much brighter. With after you all and the council approved the 5-year RFP bid out, our new lighting package is much, much brighter than the old one was. So you will definitely still have light bars on top of the cars, and they will be bright and pretty for everybody to see.
Yeah. I don't like the ones that don't have light bars. Councilmember.
Thank you. Let me ask this just out of sheer curiosity. If you don't have it in front of you, that's totally okay.
Sure.
I'm curious to know what the other color options were.
It was either the current scheme or this.
Or do
That
something
was
new.
It was just the black and white. There were no other options given. Most of that comes down to price. The more colors you get into, the more vinyl you get into with the wrapping of the vehicles, it goes up substantially. We already knew that our current scheme was actually going to end up going up in price because of vinyl prices. This pretty much, the only vinyl that's on that car is the badge and then the black that goes around the front and the back. And that's not printed up. It's just straight black vinyl. So it's very, very easy.
This is a white car, and you can tell
It
because
is.
the top of the car is.
Yes. And we looked at paint options as well, which we thought that was actually going to end up cheaper, but then we had another vendor come in with the vinyl option as well, and their bid just was nowhere close to anyone else's. They just crushed everybody else.
Okay.
Is the vendor local?
It's actually the same vendor that's doing our lighting package. So it would be a one-stop shop. The vehicle would be wrapped and lighted and equipped with all the internal parts for the patrol car, and it would come to us. We'll never see the car until it's ready to be put on the street.
But it's not local?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on this one? Thank you so much for getting us
Thank you.
abreast, looking for black and white vehicles. Once again, old school rises. We love that. G6.
Item G6, Insurance Services Office ISO Rating Report.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, members of the committee. I want to bring you up to speed on the fire department's latest ISO grade. Before I do, I'd like to introduce some folks sitting behind me who were instrumental in making this happen, the ones who were able to join us this afternoon. Ask them to wave. Deputy Chief Jerry Hardison is the Deputy Chief for the operations side of the house. So most of the stuff that happened related to this latest ISO score happened on his side of the fire department. Deputy Chief Chaz Browning was here. He manages the risk reduction side of the house. He was here but had to leave a few minutes ago for an appointment. So he would be responsible for those things that we get: code enforcement, plan review, investigations, the inspections, those sorts of things. Assistant Chief Bobby Wade is here, and he is our Assistant Chief of Planning, and he really was the project lead for this entire thing in terms of our interface with the Insurance Services Office. Captain Daniel Everhart is Chief Wade's assistant in admin. He's an administrative captain. And he was not able to join us this afternoon, but he spent a lot of time with inventory related to the fire suppression rating schedule. David Emery, there he is back there. I knew he was coming, but I didn't see him come in. He is our assistant accreditation manager. He manages all of our data, so all the data that the Insurance Services Office would be looking for relative to this, related to this inspection, he would have provided that. And of course, Assistant Chief Andrew Gray is the Assistant Chief of Operations, sitting over my left shoulder. Again, most of this stuff lives on the operations side of the house. Assistant Chief Darrell Sawyer is our logistics chief. I don't think, there he is back there. He would be responsible for purchasing and procurement of all the parts and pieces that fall into this scoring system. And then, you get in trouble when you start calling names, but I think the only one Chief Duffield made it in. So I'll talk a little bit about the score related to training. Chief Duffield is the battalion chief in the training branch. And then Chief Jamie Ford is sitting back here. He is the director of Forsyth County Fire's Communications Division. So they handle all of our 911 call processing and dispatching, and that is part of the scoring rubric also. So the Insurance Services Office, they are funded by the insurance industry, and ISO rates fire departments so that when somebody calls an insurance company and gets a quote for property insurance premiums, that they have some idea of what that community's risk from fire is because of this public protection class that the Insurance Services Office assigns to the fire departments across the country. And we are typically graded every 5 years, so we were last graded in 2019. This grade, actually, they came in and started working on it in December of 2024, but we just gotten the grade about a month ago. There are 3 items that get scored that make up what are 105.5 total available points. The fire department is responsible for about 55% of those total available points. The water system is responsible for 40%, and then the communications piece, ability to take 911 calls and dispatch units, that's 10% of the score. And when all that comes together for that possible 105.5 points, you are, and I've got a score chart in a later slide, but so Public Protection Class 1, which is what we've received, is the best available rating. If you were to get a Public Protection Class of 10, that would essentially indicate that you have no fire protection. So here are the scores. So again, out of 50 for the fire department, we picked up about 6.5 points from our 2019 score. Communications didn't have much to gain because they were almost already getting almost all of their available 10 points back in 2019. Same thing with community risk reduction. So what you see on the left side of this table here is kind of what the fire department's is responsible for, and on the right side are our partners in communications and utilities. But utilities picked up about 4 points also, a little more than. So all this comes together for that total aggregate score. For us, our notable pickups of points from 2019 to 2024 was 2 of the things were in with ladder service and the deployment analysis. And deployment is kind of, do you have the right resources spread out over your response area? And we have, for several review cycles, used you can be scored 2 ways. You can be scored based on what a map would predict that you do, or you can present your data to ISO and show them what you actually did. And our actual performance is better than what a map would predict that we do. So in changing how we were scored, we picked up those points. I mentioned Chief Duffield was sitting in the back. Your points for training are not just that you got some training. It is, how much did you get? Did the right people get it? Did the people that got it get it in the right categories? Those sorts of things, and making sure that the data of the training that we delivered over the period that ISO looks at, did it go kind of into the right buckets in terms of the credit that we were receiving for that training. So that was an improvement over 2019. And then kind of like map prediction versus actual performance in times past when the water system was graded, ISO would kind of draw hydrants at random and go out and test those hydrants. Well, if they picked some really good hydrants, your water score was good. If they picked, if it was just not your day and they picked bad hydrants, then your water supply score suffered. This year, last year, we rather than being scored on that kind of random hydrant draw, utilities helped us present ISO with the hydraulic model for the entire water system. And in doing that, we gained a little more than 4 points. So all of these things came together so that we improved not quite 12 points from our 2019 score to 2024. But as you can see down the right side of this table, when you go over a raw score, what's called a raw score by the fire suppression rating schedule, is that puts you into that public protection class 1 grade. So in summary, what does this mean for us as a city? What does it mean for the consumer or the customer? There are about 33,000 fire departments in America, and about 125, I couldn't pin the number down, but somewhere between 125 and 150 of them are both accredited and class 1. So it easily puts us in the top 0.5% of fire departments in America. This new rating will take place on December 1st. So, everybody who owns property and has insurance on that property will need to call their insurance company and advise them that this new public protection class has been earned. It has long been assumed, presumed is probably a better word, that when you go from, the big jump is from kind of in the 5, 6, 7 range in terms of insurance cost savings to the consumer. And a lot of people will tell you that when you go below 6, that only commercial properties are affected in terms of reduced insurance costs. I did some research in graduate school, which has been some time ago, but I think it still holds up. And that research showed that is not accurate, that all property owners would expect to see some reduction in insurance costs, 3 to 5% when a fire department goes from 2 to 1. But for sure, commercial property owners will be affected, so positively affected. So, when the city, when the folks developing downtown, others around the city who are trying to bring businesses into Winston-Salem, this is another thing that they can tout is, we are giving them the best that the fire department can deliver in terms of reducing their insurance costs. So I will take any questions that you have.
Thank you, Chair. One, congratulations on this to you and to all the crews who serve in the community. So thank you very much for all the hard work you guys do. My question is, comparing ourselves to the region around us, do you know how do we rank to some of the comparable municipalities that we look at?
So we do ourselves a little bit of a disservice comparing to our peers in North Carolina, because North Carolina is one of the states that has more accredited fire departments. So North Carolina, Florida, Texas, California, and Illinois kind of lead the nation in accredited agencies. So just by nature of having so many accredited fire departments relative to most states in North Carolina, but High Point is class 1 and accredited, Greensboro is class 1 and accredited, Asheville, Cary, Wilmington, somebody in the back, if I'm missing any in the state, Greenville, Wilson, Rocky Mount, there are a fair number. There are 22, last time I looked, there were 22 accredited fire departments in North Carolina, which is more than most states have.
And all class 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Ms. Hall?
Thank you. This becomes effective, Chief Mayor, on December the 1st, I believe you said. Do you have any plans to work with the Marketing and Communications Department to make sure that this is information that all property owners know about, particularly commercial property owners, but for all property owners to make sure that they know so they can be contacting their insurance companies to make sure, just in case they're not watching this meeting and forget about this on December the 1st, that they can be prepared to take advantage of those cost savings, be it 3 to 5% or more. How do you plan, or if you hadn't thought about that?
So when we got the grade, we worked with marketing and Ms. Childress in our department, so we have already blasted that information out. But I think it would be appropriate when December gets here to do it again, to keep it fresh on people's minds, since that's when it officially takes effect.
I think so. Unfortunately missed that.
All right, we'll try
And there
again
may
in
be some
paying
other.
attention in December. We'll
There
get
you go. There you go. Thank you.
Chief, again, this just shows the excellence of our departments in this city. We have bragging rights on many fronts, and our Winston-Salem Fire Department is outstanding in many ways, and we certainly appreciate that. Now, when you get rated and you become number one, you get a comfort level to say, oh, we're there. There's nothing more for us to do. But were there any areas that we could spend a little more time on to get it better?
You're putting me on the spot. But since you asked, I will tell you that the area where we lost points, we didn't lose a lot, but the area where there is a lot of scoring to make up and we lost points between 2019 and 2024 was in staffing. Staffing, yes, ma'am.
Staffing being
The number of people riding fire trucks.
less than.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not as efficient as it should be.
Well, what they look at is the average number of people you have working kind of divided into the number of fire trucks you have on the streets. And it is a much more sophisticated scoring rubric than that. You just can't, you can't call your ISO inspector and say, well, if we take one person off of our ladder trucks, how does that affect the score? Or if we add, a person to all of our engines, how does that affect the score? It is not, the calculation is much more sophisticated than that. So, but that was the place that we saw, we did see a small reduction in points in that area. And that's where I think that is, Chief Wade, am I correct? That's the largest score. That's the largest single place you can get points is in staffing, but it's 15 out of the 105 and a half.
Well, that's important to know. That's really important to know.
We've got this on video. She's the one that asked the question. I'm just answering.
Yeah. It's sort of, and we can celebrate and say things are wonderful, but we really need to know where we need to improve to really be the best we can become.
That's not, so when you were asking that question, that's what you asked is not where I thought you were headed, but I do think it's important to, the two things that we spend a lot of time maintaining, the ISO grade and the accredited status, is that the entire concept of fire service accreditation is continuous improvement. So that model drives us to get better every renewal cycle, and we renew that every 5 years. And every renewal cycle of the accreditation credential is more difficult than the last. So, and we're in our first cycle. So as we go through that, that model will push us to continue to improve the fire department.
And what do you feel about the facilities rating? I know it looked like we improved a bit, but is there more room for improvement there, or are facilities seen as wonderful?
So the fire suppression rating schedule does not assess the
physical facilities,
the state of your facilities. It assesses the location of your facilities, what you have in those facilities in terms of suppression apparatus. And I'm glad you brought that up, because this assesses only our ability to control fire. It does not assess our ability to get a window washer off the side of the Winston Tower, or to get an incapacitated worker out of a rail car. It does not look at our cardiac arrest save rate. It doesn't look at our ability to get an entrapped patient out of a mangled vehicle that's been in a motor vehicle crash. It doesn't look at any of that stuff. It only looks at what our ability is to control fire and what our risk reduction services are. That's that small 5.5 points related to investigations, code enforcement, plan review, those type of risk reduction services. Public education, doing things with the schools and those sorts of things. That is the focus of the fire suppression rating schedule. It doesn't look at facilities, doesn't look at the state of your apparatus, just looks at how many you have, how they're equipped, that sort of thing.
Thank you. Any other comments on this item? Thank you, Chief,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
and congratulations on getting there, getting a number one.
Ma'am, thank you all for your support and for, everybody who's listening in the fire department who worked on this, even the guys and girls out in the fire stations, everybody had a hand in it. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for the good of the order? Scott?
Speaking of our highly qualified and ranked fire departments, I know we've talking about a pay study happening. If you could, as that begins, could you please send out, or to me or to the whole council, the current pay scale for our firefighters, so we can compare that to what is being presented? Thank you.
Any other concerns, issues that you'd like to speak to before we end? Well, ladies and gentlemen, fellow council members, we are adjourn our public safety meeting for the month of September. Thank you.
Feels like that.